Not only do new players get to choose a brand new unit from the 5-star beginner select ticket, they also get 10 5-star select summon tickets when they log in for their 14th day. These tickets, as the name implies, can be exchanged for a unit or prism of their choice. This is a very exciting prospect, but there is no doubt that this will not be a very easy choice. After all, 10 tickets may seem like a lot, but you need 10 of these tickets to trade in for one unit anyways. So basically, you probably only have enough tickets for one selection right now. Luckily, this is what I'm here for, to help you make a decision that you won't regret. So let's get into it. First off, if you have a favorite unit, disregard any advice I'm going to give you and choose that one. After all, why on earth would you choose to go with the incredibly powerful Xeno of the Beta Star, when you could go with everyone's favorite unit, the Lita? While you may want to choose the best unit for the best gameplay, most units on this list are capable enough to help you through the early game. For that matter, a right setup is far more valuable than a single unit, and many players have completed difficult content with low rarity units and a single strong friend. But with all that said, team building in Final Fantasy Brave Exvius is more complicated than it looks, but I do go over the bare basics in my team building video, so check that out when you can. So first, let's start by fleshing out your team. I'll go ahead and assume you already watched my Final Fantasy Brave Exvius Beginner Select Summon Ticket video, and went ahead and chose your favorite unit. Then I'll go ahead and assume that at least half of you chose Awakened Warrior of Light, and I totally support that since I'm the one who suggested it in the first place. Now, what you can do instead of selecting a unit with your hard-earned 10 tickets is to use only 8 of them instead and choose a prism. This will allow you to awaken the unit and save 2 tickets. Saving 2 tickets may not seem like much, but you can potentially awaken units at a much faster rate by choosing to get their prism. This way, you can awaken the unit you got from your first ticket and save 2 of these tickets. Or you can choose a different unit from all of the tickets that you've received, so it's not like you're short on choices. But what if you just want a new unit? Then let's get into this video. In fact, let's make a tier list on it. After all, everyone loves looking at tier lists, and criticizing them is fun too. Keep in mind that order on this list can be indicative of strength. There are so many bad units, but you can definitely put one unit below another. This tier list will cover them primarily in their 7-star forms, and their abilities fully awakened. I'm confident that this tier list will be the most updated version you can find, not only because you can tell by this video's release date, but also because Gumi will never be adding another unit to this list again. This was too good of a deal for us and they regret it heavily. So who's the best of the best? The cream of the crop? The chosen one? Well, there are different rows, so I'll make a different tier list for each of them. I'll analyze each individual unit another time. But before I get into it, I'd like to take the time and apologize profusely to anyone I might offend. Welcome to the internet. Physical attackers. The good old hack and slash method of dealing damage. Don't judge them just by their placement though. Make sure you have someone that can chain with them. Anyways, Xeno of the Beta Star is by far the best one you can get here. I think he's on par with Awakened Onion Knight from the beginner select ticket. You may want to enhance his abilities though. Beatrix is also a good damage dealer, but she really needs to be fully enhanced. This means latent abilities, ability awakenings, Trust Master, not very beginner friendly. And finally Crimson, or maybe Tifa. Both of them can perform the same kind of chains, so I suppose it's up to your preference. Next, magic damage dealers. Of the units on this list, Lulu would be the best choice. The downside? She can only chain with Flood and Tornado, which aren't very popular for the actual best magic damage dealers. On the other hand, she's perfectly capable of serving as a magic finisher of sorts. If you want someone who can be paired with the best, you should probably go with Circe. Not only could she cover a nice range of elemental attacks, she also has the flexibility to chain with many other units. After her is Kimono Fina, who can only chain with Chaos Wave, though you may want to choose her because of that specialization. Tsukuko and Warrior of Light Creo are also good units to choose from. The next batch I'll talk about are hybrid damage dealers. Nagi is the best on this list, though she'll need her abilities awakened to truly shine. Straggling a bit behind, but still rather competent is Aurora Frievia with her abilities awakened. Kurosami is about the same, but deals ice damage and he will also need his abilities awakened. Elena is probably one of the most popular, despite the fact that she isn't the best. But of this video's release, she doesn't have any abilities that can be awakened, so she's probably the most beginner friendly. Her kit, on the other hand, will take some time to figure out. Tanks. I'll split them between physical and magical, and I'll try to keep it simple. First up are the physical tanks. The best on this list is undoubtedly Warrior of Dawn, Galuf. But if you have Awakened Warrior of Light, you don't really need him. After him is Seacard. And then, all the way behind them, is Mercenary Ramza. Unless you hate the other two with a burning passion, don't choose Ramza. Magical tanks. I like Paladin Ciso, but he's not on this list. The best one here is Sacred Shield Charlotte, who can serve as a good support unit as well. After her is Awakened Rain, and he's really not as good as her. Then, since I need a third place, either Bosk or Barrow. Bosk can be either used as a physical or magical tank, but definitely not both at the same time. Also, he's worse than Mercenary Ramza as a physical tank. Barrow is a fun unit to play with, but so is Gilgamesh, and Gilgamesh isn't good. Now, healers. As of this video's release, Warrior of Light Lena remains one of the best healers in the game, and also one of the best units, and that's including everyone not selectable with this ticket. I would absolutely support anyone's decision to choose her. She has a huge myriad of support skills, letting her work beyond the role of a healer. In fact, let's just leave Lena here and not include anyone else, because they all pale in comparison. But if you insist, Foka, Mira, and Summer, Fina, and Lid are also good. Aerith is a bit behind them, but she does have a nice Neovision form unlocked if you really want to grab her. Next, a supporter. Hate to break it, but remember that the best ones also perform other roles. Charlotte and Galuf are tanks, while Lena is a healer. Elaphim is one of the best supporters and can also serve as a breaker, but she really needs her abilities awakened. Then there's Foka, and if you really want a pure supporter, Ignis or Sylvie. They'll need their abilities awakened as well. I still use Sylvie on occasion as she's incredibly versatile. Breakers are one of the most useful roles. That is, when they can be used. Check out my team building video if you're a bit lost. Elaphim is the best breaker on this list, but again, she'll really need her abilities awakened. After that, Summer, Fina, and Lid are good breakers and they can support as well. Orin is a good breaker and he can also help you chain. Summoners. I don't know why a beginner would be interested in this row, but I hope they do get stronger eventually. Of this list, Yuna is the best and she can serve as a healer, but there is a reason that I didn't mention her when I was discussing healers. Aiko's a bit lower and she's also a healer. Even below that are Summer, Foka, and Citra, who can serve as a chainer, a supporter, and a summoner, but that combination only sounds good on paper. Then there's Morgana, who can't even support herself that well. Citra and Rydia are pretty much the bottom of the barrel. And finally, finishers. Sid would be the best on this list, but he requires a lot of preparation. Then you can use Lulu for a rare magic damage finisher. After that is Roberta, who lags a bit behind Sid, and Regina, who only shines when up against specific enemies. Okay, and that covers all of the rows. If your favorite unit didn't make on this list, don't feel like they're utterly worthless. Any unit can be good, it's just that the units that are the best on this list require less prep than others. Final Fantasy Brave Exvius is an amalgamation of all of the Final Fantasy worlds, except for the one fact that none of them interact with each other. So if you ever hope to see Cloud have a heartfelt reunion with Aerith, go read some fanfiction or something. But if you want to see Cloud smack Sephiroth, then go find someone using Sephiroth in the arena. You can even let him go up against Sephiroth alone, letting him charge up his limit burst in beautiful pixelated form. Of course you have to have Cloud, but that aside, it's definitely better to just play the remake, but that costs money. One more thing, don't choose a unit just because of their Neovision. You need a lot of unit copies to unlock their Neovision form, and that's not a healthy path you want to pursue, especially if you're a beginner. If you were unfamiliar with some of the roles I described, like Finisher or Summoner, make sure to check out my video where I outline the basic team building strategies. Keep in mind that you can always use 8 tickets instead to select a prism, and you can use that to awaken a unit that you already have instead. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Comment below if you have any questions. I think I'll be making videos for dedicated units in the future, so comment below if you have one that you really want to see.